Well, welcome everyone to our Core Summerfest New Recruits panel. Woo!
Yay!
Yeah. We have our beautiful new recruits here, and they're going to be answering some questions about the audition process, what it's been like diving right into Core for this season. They started being on Core in September, so it's been 9 months now since they've been on Core.
We're a whole
I know,
baby.
time to
A whole baby.
A whole baby.
A whole baby. A whole baby could have been born by now. Yeah. And for anyone who is new or who's just tuning in and doesn't know about the Core Dance Crew, I'm just going to break down a little bit of what we do. So the Core Dance Crew pretty much is a cosplaying dance company, and we bring anime, comics, video games, anything that you can think of to life. We've probably done it, or we're thinking of doing it, and it's in the process. So we've done different conventions like Anime Expo, San Diego Comic-Con, the list goes on. And we're just really, really happy for everyone to be here because con season has been canceled, obviously. So we are happy that you all are here. But to start everything off, I wanted our panelists to introduce themselves. They're going to start with their name and also the characters or the key characters that they've portrayed on Boku no Hero and ATM.
So, hi. I'll go ahead and start. I'm Justine. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. And I played Mina in the My Hero Academia set. And in Across the Multiverse, I played Juvia and Tsunade.
Yeah.
Hi friends, I'm Nikki. I played Ritiko Sato in our Boku no Hero set. I played Princess Serenity in ATM and Tenten and Yue from Card Captor Sakura. And a penguin, apparently.
If you haven't watched our open ceremonies video, you'll know.
All right, hey everybody, I'm Austin, and some notable characters I played was Sai in Across the Multiverse and the second iteration of Denki Kaminari and Plus Ultra.
Ah, that's a crop top.
Come on, crop
His
top.
name is not Austin, it's crop top. Hi, I'm Noelle. Notable characters. I was Tsu for Boku no Hero, second iteration, because my other half was Tsu last time. AKA Rio, yay! And then ATM, I was Haruhi, I was she's got
Urza.
Urza. I don't know, I was about to say Lyra. I was like, that's not it, fam.
I got
Lyra.
you.
She said webtoon. Anyway, and I was, yeah, that's pretty much, that's that. Question mark? All right. I love this. Okay, Joe.
So hi everyone, I'm Joe. Thanks for joining us today. I was Queen Serenity and also Kana from our Across the Multiverse set, and I also performed as Hantasero in our Boku no Hero set this past ALA. Tape, tape, tape.
Cool, cool. Thank you all. Thank you all. So we're going to start with kind of just like going back a little bit before you joined Core, before your life changed 9 months ago.
Before the Fire Nation attack.
Before the Fire Nation.
Before the Fire Nation attack.
Oh boy.
So we're going to take it back a little bit. And I wanted each of you to explain kind of what your dance background was before you joined Core. It could be the different styles that you have trained, or, you know, if you were in a studio or if you were in the dance community, just a little summary of where you were before Core. So we can actually do the same order that we did in our introduction. So Justine, you can go ahead and start.
Cool. So I started dancing almost 10 years ago. Wow. And I started with hip hop classes at my community center when I was 8th grader. I immediately fell in love with dance and I wanted to do it as much as I could. So I started competing when I was in high school on the junior team. When I got to college, I was also competing there and also on a couple of exhibition teams. And I remember seeing and hearing about core round competitions, and I was really, really motivated to audition, and here I am.
Thanks, Justine. So let's go with Nikki next.
See, I've been dancing since I was like a wee tyke, maybe like 3 or 4, at studios, mostly ballet, jazz, not much else actually until maybe about high school when I started doing contemporary, picked up cheer, and then in college I kept going with contemporary and then started learning like social Latin styles, mostly at clubs, not really in a formal setting, but kind of the best way to learn.
Whoa, social Latin clubs?
Yes,
I didn't
Liz,
know that.
we need to go.
I learned something new. Thanks, Nikki. Let's go with Austin next.
So now, when I think about it, where I officially started dancing was during my freshman year of high school, which is about maybe 7 years ago. And through there on, most of the things I learned were in a high school team setting, but then I started going to more junior teams outside of the school, just for a little performance for a little bit. And then after high school is when I want to take a break, but then I found myself going back to dancing, oddly enough, back in college. And back there, it just again, just more school-related things. So nothing too intense in the community for the time being. So
Nice.
That's about it.
Cool. Yes. Sometimes we just bring ourselves back to dance.
You can't
And
leave.
I think that's a beautiful thing.
Can't.
You don't just,
You cannot
It's a
leave.
cult.
you don't have to stop. That's a thing.
No.
Thanks, Austin. Let's go with Noelle.
Hello. So I started also like Justine. It's been almost 10 years now. Wow. And my freshman year in high school. Fun fact. Oh my gulai. I joined the hip hop club at my high school, and one of the elder people that were running it was actually Ryoko. She's my dance mom, and she taught me my first choreography ever. We went to the same high school, and so she was actually the one I learned I remember the first choreo I ever learned in my life was to her Justin Bieber piece. I forgot. It was one of the early Justin Bieber. It wasn't Baby.
Ready to love.
Oh yeah, somebody to see, you know, but I don't. Okay, anyway. So yeah, I learned a lot of different styles there. I learned whacking from Ryoko and house from some other people. I was actually a B girl first, so I did breakdancing initially, and then I did choreography because Ryoko was like, "Come do this," and I was like, "I do the breakdancing," and she's like, "But you girl, you do this," and I was like, "Okay." And then yeah, from then on, I was president of the hip hop club for the next 3 to 4 years because no one wanted to take my spot. And then I did some Broadway dancing at my high school, so I did some theater stuff. And then college, I did an exhibition team, and then I also was on a team that Justine was on after I was on it. It was called Samohang Modern. And then I did another team called Family Business, and these are all community teams, so we all compete at different competitions hosted by other teams. And then I was also on VMO and LFG, so we went to HHI and we actually won first place for the US, so that was great. And then I went to CORE because it's my dream team. Okay, that's it.
Thanks, Noelle. Lastly, we have Jo. Were we able to unmute her? Jo. Oh no, she's unmuted, or she's not. She is muted.
Ooh.
We can dub for you.
Oh, there you go.
Hi. Thank you. Okay. So I actually started getting to dance when I was also in high school. It wasn't anything formal. I was just doing some K-pop stuff with my friends. And when I got to college, I joined the collegiate dance community. So I started in a freestyle club called B-Boys Anonymous, and that's where I met Liz. Yay! And then I was exposed to styles like house dance and did a little bit of locking as well. I didn't train a lot in there. I went straight into a dance team formally afterwards. And then after I graduated, I went to Japan and I took some house lessons there in their community for about 1.5 years. And that's pretty much it. I returned home and I joined Core 2 months after that. And so here I am.
Nice. Thank you all. So with Core, it's really crazy how we all come from so many different backgrounds, and we learn dance in so many different ways from all these different people. And that kind of goes into my next question. It's for Nikki and Justine. So the question is, how did you find out about Core and what made you want to audition? So let's go to Nikki first.
I think we have really similar stories, right? Both of us saw Core. I saw Core at Fusion in 2015 in my freshman year of college. They were doing an Attack on Titan set, and I was like so obsessed with the idea of a cosplay dance team. I stalked them from afar for so long, like the entirety of my college years. And I had a friend who was on Core at the time, Toby. I don't know, Toby, if you remember him. Really tall, kind of like a noodle. Yeah, him. And
The doctor
God doctor. Yes. And so through him, I kind of was introduced to Core. And then when I finally graduated college and moved closer than I was in San Diego, then I was able to go to open rehearsals and then eventually join Core.
How are you, Justine?
Yeah, so we actually do really have really similar stories of how we found Core. So I actually, when I was a baby dancer, back when I was first starting my dance journey, I saw a video of Core from UB when they did their Attack on Titan set for the first time. And as a little baby in the community, I was really, really surprised because I'm like, wow, I like anime. I also love to dance. There's a team that does both at the same time. How do I become a part of it? And since then, I started following Core on social media and everything. I started keeping up with their YouTube channel. I made my way to a couple of open rehearsals as well. And also a little bit of more context is when I was also learning to dance, I would follow teams that Core members would teach for and would help train. So I was watching Kayla, Sonali, Liz also dance and teach and choreograph for these sets. So I was always kind of adjacent to Core, but now it's a huge honor that I get to call these amazing people that essentially help teach me how to dance my teammates. So it's so wild, such an honor.
Cool. I also, since your answers are pretty similar to each other, I wanted to ask if Austin could chime in and just ask him what made him want to join Core.
Well, it's a funny thing that you mentioned that, because the reason I'm on Core and how I found out about it at first is actually because of someone in this call right now, Cal. Yeah, I was actually hanging out with Cal one day. We were all just hanging out at the Pride Center at our college campus since we were on the same campus at the time. And during that time, Cal just showed me a video because he knew I danced at the time. So he also knew I was kind of a geek. So I guess he thought that I'd enjoy watching this performance of what I believe was the Teen Titans set of Comic-Con 2018, I believe.
Yeah.
And then after watching that, I was just amazed. It's like, this is probably like what I wanted in dance right now, just to be a geek on stage. And then I think it was the following year when there were auditions, and I was really nervous to go. And yeah, it was a lot to think about at the time.
So cute.
Oh.
Aw, yeah, I feel like you all find us in so many different ways, and it was so cool that we were able to get auditions, because with auditions, we're able to maybe reach people who we still don't know, or, you know, that we don't know personally, and that are able to come out and show their talents. And I'm just so happy that you all are able to audition. And that does lead into the next thing, which is the audition. What is it like? What did you have to go through in order to get on the corps? So this is actually for Joe and Noelle. So my question is, what was the audition process like? And since both of you have kind of been on other teams and have been in the dance community for a little bit, how was it different than the other auditions that you've been to?
So the only audition processes that I have done were in the dance community, and I haven't done very many, but the ones that I have done, they sort of span over like 3 days or so. And so those were a little bit more complicated in that they took more time. So we learned several pieces, and then we did the audition, and then we had an interview on another day. When I walked into the corps audition, I actually didn't know that everything was going to be done on the same night. So I thought I was just showing up and taking a workshop and then doing the audition. And then they called us after and they're like, stick around for the interview. And I was like, the what? And so it was kind of fun though, because, it kept me on my feet and I didn't have time to prepare. So the only option I had was just to be myself. And that was probably one of the most thrilling things ever because, I like surprises as well. And everyone at the audition process, they all brought such a wonderful energy, and everyone was just there having a good time. I remember Noelle specifically because I think Noelle and Justine they were auditioning in the same group. And I looked at her and I was like, oh, she has to be an alumni. She's probably just re-auditioning. And I was like, Justine too. I'm like, they're so great. Like, this is awesome. And it was just really funny because I actually remember all of the new recruits' auditions. I think Austin and I were also in the same group as well, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
That was a while back. It was a rush at the time.
Yeah, just as a follow-up question, just for Joe, what happened in the audition? What happened throughout the whole night? Could you just walk us through a little bit of what happened?
Sure. So we showed up at the studio and we do all the basic paperwork. So we sign in, and then I remember Board was there at the table, and then they took a picture of us and gave us a number. I don't remember my number. And then we sort of went into the main room and everyone just kind of took like a workshop almost. So we learned the choreography together. And then as soon as that finished, we immediately were divided into groups of, I think, 3 or 4. And that was it. We just had to audition the piece. And I remember walking up to the floor and Sonali and Kayla were there. And usually at an audition, it seems pretty nerve-wracking because, there are people watching you and they're supposed to be judging you. But no, all I saw were smiles, and it was, it gave me a lot of courage to just have fun, because at the end of the day, I think that's probably the most important thing, and that's probably what would stick with most people if, you're able to show that you're having a good time. And then we did that. I believe there was a round of callbacks. So Board would call out certain people they wanted to see again. And then after that, they called out some numbers and we stuck around for a group interview. And we just had a conversation, actually. It sort of turned into a discussion, I remember. And it was in a group setting, so that was kind of fun. It wasn't really serious. And they made it really, really welcoming.
Yeah, I remember your audition. Well, of course, because I invited you to it. But I think part of it was just one, you didn't really think you were auditioning. A fun fact, if you all didn't know, she was mocking, as in you're just kind of practicing to audition, but not really auditioning. But look where she is now.
Liz already knew. She was like, yeah, you can mock it. She already knew that. Yeah.
I knew they love you. So yeah. But Noelle, what was your experience like for the audition?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. I'm just making sure my level was okay. Okay. I just remember I really wanted to be early, but then when I came early, no one was there yet, and I was like, "Ooh, this is awkward. I'll wait in my car for a little bit because I was also waiting for Justine because we planned to go there together, or not in the same car, but we knew we were going to see each other. And I actually met Nikki first because I signed in and I was like, I don't know anyone here. What's your name?
Thank God for Noelle and Justine being like great introducers of people. God, I was like so awkward, just like standing there, like, yeah.
And I was like, this is Nikki. What's your name? Austin? This is Nikki. It was great though. Little did we know we'd all end up in the same group together. Other than that, I mean, we did warm-ups. I also saw Ryoko in the room, which is cool. And that was my first time seeing her in like 8 years. And she was like, hey. I'm like, hey.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was crazy. And we stretched next to each other. And yes, Shellen, I was wearing red pants. I was somehow became iconic red pants. That it was way too hot to be wearing pants. Just saying, that room got really hot. Not even with just the amount of bodies, but the amount of movement. It was just sweat, good sweat. Yeah, we did some warm-ups and stretches, and we learned the choreography, which is The Greatest Showman. And honestly, what I was going through in terms of like all the choreography I was doing before this, it was very like, "Rawr, I'm mad, take that, vibrations." And so it was really nice to be like, oh, this is the greatest show, wee! Like, it just felt
Gotta
really
channel
good.
in that theatrical part of
Yes,
you again, huh?
it felt so good. I was like, this release is so joyful. I'm not angry. But it was super fun. And then yeah, we did groups. It was actually because I've done some community auditions where it is same day audition, but Core's audition process felt a lot more like an industry audition because I've been to some for like a music video or even for like Legoland or something. You don't only just do choreography, we also did across the floors, which was basically they would demonstrate a move, Kayla or Sonali or Lauren too, and across the floor, and we would take turns in about 3 lines or 4 lines, and we would do that same move all the way across the floor. And so I believe to me it was really fun because okay, well, the hip hop moves, I was like, I got this. Yeah, I got this. And then they started doing like turns, and I was like, oh no, this is oh no. I was like, not okay. I was like, just look as proper because I don't have that kind of background. The most turn stuff I did was in Broadway, like theater stuff, and I haven't done that since high school. So yeah, we did some of those, and then I don't remember the order. Do you guys remember? It was like either the choreography and then across the floors, or across the floors and then choreography.
Across the floor first.
Right.
Warm-ups, right?
Yeah, it was like the
warm-ups
warm-ups.
across.
Yeah, and then after choreography, didn't we also do like a freestyle like across the floor?
We freestyled across the floor, yeah.
Yeah, they would put on a song and then we would freestyle across the floor. And I distinctly remember Nikki being my biggest hype woman when I was going across the floor. She was like, "Who are you? Who are you?"
You were so iconic that day. Honestly, like the image of you in those like iconic red pants, and then you like absolutely coming in and being like incredible. And I was like,
Stop.
who is
You're
that?
so sweet.
Like I need.
Didn't you also wear your Samurai Jack shirt that day too?
I did. I wore a black
outfit.
Samurai Jack shirt with like red accents and my red pants, and I think some kind of black shoes. Look, coming in hot. Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, and then after that, we did the callbacks, right? Or no, just kidding. We already went through all that, and then we did the across the floors, and then everyone was like, ah. Hear me still? Anyway, yeah, and then we had the interviews, and we got to talk about our Hogwarts horses, houses,
Hogwarts horses.
our Hogwarts horses. Yeehaw!
This is
Which
Gryffindor.
horse do you ride?
And
This is
all the
Ravenclaw.
other fun stuff. Yeah, I'm a Hufflepuff. What about you? I'm done.
Thanks, Zoe. So yeah, I remember all of your auditions, every single person. And I remember, okay, just a little bit of a story with Justine and Noelle, because we were in the same group because it was only them two. And they were the last ones to audition. And they usually audition with 3 people, but there were only 2 people. And they asked me to do it with them. I'm like, yeah, totally. When I danced with both of them, oh my gosh, I could feel the energy like in that little clump. And then part of me is like, ooh, like I gotta pull up. Like I gotta dance harder. So all of your auditions were so great. I mean, they clearly were because you're all here now.
Yay! Yay!
Yeah. So the next couple of questions are fast forward. Now you auditioned and now you're on cart. Boom. First rehearsal.
Boom.
Okay, well, this is for Nikki and Austin. And my question is, when you all started as new recruits, we were already in the process of remounting 2 shows, not 1, but 2 shows that already have been performed, which were our Across the Multiverse set and Boku no Hero. So what were the challenges that you have faced and also the victories that you've had with being a new recruit and hitting the ground running to perform these sets?
Good.
Oh, you're going first, or?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, let's go with Austin.
Okay. So I remember going in, beforehand I never had that much experience going to anything past a school-based team, so just walking into it, it's kind of hitching the face like, all right, here's what you gotta do. So, because they planned the 2 shows ahead of time, and I remember thinking like, oh, this is a lot to catch up on. We got this planned for this day, we have a whole schedule built out for this, and I was thinking like, wow, we have everything figured out, and I'm just like thinking, okay, guess I gotta practice a lot outside, just make sure I'm able to catch up. And almost every rehearsal we'd be working on something new, and I gotta retain everything I did the last rehearsal. So it's a lot of rethinking and redoing. It's like, I remember times in rehearsal where I thought to myself that, okay, I'm having difficulty with this move, so I gotta practice a lot outside and take time to just work on that, because when I was practicing Oron, I was not used to whacking, so this was not comfortable in my body at the moment. It was weird to me, so I had to work on a lot for it. And I remember when working out with Plus Ultra specifically, was that, we had to do a lot with Plus Ultra, so then there had to be times I had to come in earlier to learn some stuff that we wouldn't have time to go over at first. So there was some time to make sure I do catch up and learn it on my own time. But I remember in the end, it's like, seeing that everything is ready, it's like, wow, we just did this before January. Between the September and January, we just did all that. And I'm just like, ugh. That's a thing.
It was a lot. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Are you good? Yeah. I just remember like having seen Across the Multiverse and Boku no Hero, like AX, like I had these ideas in my head of what it was gonna be, and so I don't think I realized like the sheer amount of choreo that we had to learn and like put in, and it was especially difficult because most of the returners were already like set in that choreo and they knew what they were doing, and so it was difficult in the sense that we had to, catch up to them and then like put ourselves like on the same level and on the same stage as them, but also it was easier because they were there to guide us, which is really nice. But I was like less in Boku no Hero and more in Across the Multiverse, especially for like the beginning part of our like core journey. So I spent a lot of time with Koki, like reworking that duet. And so I had like really strong pictures in my head of how I thought it was going to be, because I like had seen LA and JK's version so many times and I loved that version. I had watched it so many times, and so I was expecting to be able to go in and like just repeat what they had done, but instead we choreographed the whole thing to fit Koki and I's style, which was really nice. I think that was most of it. It was just a lot all at once.
Yeah, definitely. With all of the choreography that you all had to just learn right on the spot, and we were you went from 0 to 100. It's kind of like, well, literally your first rehearsal with us, you guys were upside down. You were doing stunts already. And it's like, oh, well, that's where we are.
I remember that.
I'm so sorry, Austin.
We went
That's
to
cool.
500.
I'm just glad we were able to do it.
Oh, you guys were partners, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Flipper over.
like, oh, nice to meet you. You're my teammate. Let me flip you over now.
Really, first day is like, okay, we're gonna flip people over our backs. It's like, okay, awesome,
We're doing it.
You guys did
doing
it,
it.
and it was great.
did it.
And
I'm proud.
for a newer crew, and also just as a dance company, it's one thing to have choreography down, but it's really important also to have chemistry with the people that you're with and the people that you're performing with, because it really shows on stage, definitely. And this question goes to Justine and Joe, just because chemistry is a huge factor when it comes to a group performing on stage. So what was it like meshing with a new group of people, especially a group that was already close to each other? So let's go with Justine first.
Cool. So I will say that the veterans of core made it really easy as a new recruit to fit in. And they were very, very welcoming. They were just like very, very welcoming. I remember, especially, so as a new recruit, for me personally, not only was I introduced to a lot of new people, but also like a lot of new styles and things that I hadn't done before. For example, I've never flipped over anything before. So I'm going to shout out Shellen, actually, who was my bass, the person who flipped me over in the My Hero Academia set. And that was really, really challenging, but I just remember Shellen being very, very patient with me. And whenever I would like go, I've kicked him in the head a couple times, sorry, Shellen. But whenever we would mess up, I just be like, okay, again. And then we would just keep going. And a lot of what's really cool about core is that we also support each other in our non-core activities. One of my favorite memories is going to West Hollywood to watch Joseph perform as Miss Anime with Austin and Koki, my bro TP, and Noelle and Nikki. It was really, really great. And kind of, circling back to Nikki's previous answer, I also want to share something on the topic of chemistry, that not only do you feel it with other people, but you can tell when people feel it with each other. And one great example of that is watching Nikki and Koki do their duet for Young, who was by John Robert Hall, who is performing tonight. And I remember watching them do it for the first time. And like Nikki, Young was a really, really great piece for me to watch. It was one of my favorite pieces in Across the Multiverse. And one of my fun facts that I shared with Core was I can't watch the set without tearing up. And literally, I remember watching them perform, because at the end of practice, we show for the team what we worked on. And I was watching that. I remember I was sitting next to Austin. And then when they were done, everyone was clapping and they walked off. And Austin turns to me and he's like, Justine, are you okay? And I turned back with snot dripping out of my nose. And I'm like, no, I'm not okay.
I'm crying, just like, you good? You good? You good, honey?
Like, are you good? I'm like, no.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alrighty, and for Joe.
Right. So I think when we first started joining, like everything sort of switched like into high gear really quick. So we had long rehearsals, and I remember that the new recruits, at least for me, I was sort of just trying to not be lost during the whole process. Yeah, nobody's like, I get you. But I think that the veterans, like Justine was saying, they were very, very patient with us, and I really appreciated, like, they weren't babying us, but they also trusted us to be able to handle everything that was coming our way. And sort of just through bonding through practice, we sort of got to know each other a little bit more. And just because we don't practice all the time in the week, we are divided into our smaller performance groups, and we'll work on pieces separately. And I think within our little small units, we got to, or at least I got to know my teammates a little bit better. There are also times when like we would show up to practice early, and we would just sit there and get to talk to some of the vets who are on the team. And I do appreciate that, you know, we do have the vets who do reach out to us and they check in with us often, because they know too that it's a lot that we're handling, or at least when we were just starting out. And then between the newbies too, I know we check in with each other a lot just to make sure we're all, you know, catching up. I remember like, because actually quite a lot of us are into K-pop. A lot of us are into K-pop. Yes. And I remember it like, what was it, like one rehearsal, we ended early, right? Okay, Justine's laughing because she knows exactly what I'm talking about. So we ended rehearsal early and Kayla was like, you guys can go home because you're not in this piece. Justine and I went to this next room over, and then we just started doing K-pop dances for the remainder of rehearsal. We stayed there till like 1. And we were just doing throwbacks. It was a good time. We recorded some of them. And that's when I knew. I was like, okay, like this team rocks because we all enjoy the same music. And
yeah, definitely. And I feel like you all meshed together with us so well. And what I love about core is that no matter how long you've been on the team, whether if it's, you know, 6 years or 2 years, or like you're a new recruit, we still are open to you all. And we don't have, you know, this hierarchy system where it's like, oh, I've been on the team longer than you, so I'm better than you. We never have that in the company. And that's one of my favorite things about it, is that everyone's on a level playing field. And you all just meshed really well in the team.
Wait, I'm gonna dispute that level playing field for a second, because
What?
everyone has a nickname for everyone else, and there are so many nicknames, and I don't know any of, like, when I came in, I didn't know any of them. I was so confused, and everyone's like, yeah, bro TP, yeah, soulmate, like, which soulmate, which bro TP? There's so many of them.
Yeah, I was so confused when Bevan was also called soulmate, because I thought it was like, oh yeah, Kayla Sonali, soulmates.
Right?
And then someone else called Bevan soulmate, and I was like, it's a trio? I'm confused.
We can do 3 people.
Yeah, and then during the throwback panel, like Sonali was like, okay, first up is soulmate. Then I'm like,
which
and I'm like,
one?
Kayla?
Which
Yeah,
soulmate?
there are 4 soulmates. So it's
Oh, boy.
Kayla, Sonali, Bev, and Tiff. Those are the 4 soulmates.
Oh,
Makes
cool.
sense.
We should make
Yeah.
flashcards.
Like mental chart in our heads. Like,
Honestly.
okay, we go.
Yeah, you need to like
someone
make a tree.
Someone make an Excel sheet
Yes.
of all the nicknames.
Okay, so,
Or
I mean,
a little
yeah.
diagram.
okay, this is soulmate.
This is soulmate.
There's also
Everyone's
soulmates.
challenged. Make a little chart, a nickname chart.
Like a
Let's do it.
correlation
Let's
chart,
do it.
like for K-dramas.
Correlation.
Yeah,
Ooh.
also like a family tree. Oh
Okay.
no, the
Sure, it'll work
puns.
on it.
Oh, no.
But yeah, well, besides that, I think you all meshed really well. Like I said, even though you had to learn all those nicknames, you're still learning. You're still learning, and that's totally okay. Like you were with learning choreography. But the next couple of questions are more of just a reflection on your time on core. And I wanted to start off with Justine and Noelle. So our question is, what is one thing that you learned about core that surprised you or that you didn't expect? So let's start with Noelle.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, sure, girl. Okay. What is one thing that you learned about core that surprised you or that you didn't expect?
I guess what I didn't expect, because my idea of core was always like this super sparkly, polished, everyone is perfect. But in rehearsal, what surprised me is that it wasn't really authoritarian in a sense, or it wasn't really like, I thought in order to be that perfect, you would have to be like a drill sergeant, you know, and just I'm used to teams that clean, more cleaning. Guess what? More cleaning. And so it's not that saying that we don't clean. I just think what was nice was that, and surprising was that the company really trusted their dancers and their abilities. So it was really nice for me as a dancer, because normally in other teams, when it feels like we have to clean this, we have to change the choreography because it's not clean enough. I Instead, with core, it's more like, you'll get it, just keep doing it, you'll get it the next time, we trust that you're gonna do it, and that really gave me more of a sense of pride and more of a sense of worth as a dancer, instead of just being another number, another piece of the atmosphere. It really made me feel like, these people value my abilities, and that's really cool. That's it.
Yeah, for sure. And with just the cleaning thing, for sure, Core just doesn't have time. We just don't have any time.
The truth.
So it's like, you get the choreo, you learn it, and we know that you're gonna kill it because you hear. How about you, Justine? What was something that surprised you?
Oh, for sure. Before I get into my answer, I kind of just want to like echo another point that Noelle said. I really like how Core, what she says, trust their dancers, because I remember whenever we would try a new skill or try a new stunt or something, there were times where I would get down on myself for not being able to accomplish it right away. Like, all these other dancers with me are so well-rounded and so talented. So there were times where I would feel like I wouldn't measure up, but that trust that our directors and like our leadership and also our captains and managers checking in on us, and also our teammates checking in on us too. Like, they're just confident that, you're talented, we picked you for a reason, we said yes to you, so you will get it. And that's like an energy that I felt was missing in a lot of dance spaces that I was a part of before. So going back to another thing that surprised me when I first joined Core is actually our comrades. So I was so amazingly humbled when we when we were introduced to Core, and how the comrades, I felt super welcomed. I felt super welcomed right away. I was so surprised because I was like, wow, they work so hard, like y'all work so hard to create things for us, and I think that's super sweet. Things like on my birthday and like on all of our birthdays, we wake up to being tagged in art and like videos and edits that y'all create, and I'm just like, wow. Wow, I've never had someone pay attention to me this closely before. This is so cool. And I definitely, speaking more about the imposter syndrome that I experienced earlier, like, comrades, y'all make that go away, because you make us feel like we're a part of this bigger unit and we're a part of the Core legacy, because we have big shoes to fill, but you make it easy and you keep us going. So yeah, yay comrades.
Yay, thank you, you two. All right, our next reflection question goes to Joe and Austin. So the question is, what was your greatest challenge as a new recruit, and how are you trying to overcome it? We can start with Austin.
All right, so I believe when I first joined, I believe my biggest challenge at the time was really trying to communicate with people within the team. Because, again, going back to the last question I had, it was like going into a whole new world of things I haven't interacted with before. So meeting all these people who have all had tons of experience, kind of similar to Justine's imposter syndrome. It's like, how did I get here? Like, what's happening? I don't know. So at the time, it was really daunting to think about how, all right, I got to mesh with these people in order to work well with them. So at first, it's kind of scary because I didn't know how to talk to these people at first, like everyone on the team. So it's like, how do I bring up anything around them? And I believe what kind of broke that was when Koki actually first started talking to me, because he just kind of randomly added me on Snapchat. I was just like, oh, okay, I'll talk to him. And then like we started talking more. It's like that kind of eased me with him. And then around that, he would help me. He would kind of help me talk to more people around. And even during practicing our sets, it actually really helped to like when I was like blocking with someone, I was like trying to think, just making conversation with them during downtime. Like actually when we were running with ATM finale, I actually got paired with Nikki to go on the cage. I don't know where she is right now. So, like we both kind of just went for it. It's like, you know what? We'll go on the cage. We'll just climb around it. And then during every chance we had to, we kind of talked about how, oh, we can go over here or we can try this out. So it was really cool to like really talk to her and like just kind of bond with her over a cage, I guess.
You and me on an apparatus. It's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Our places with each other.
You all are so cute with each other. I love the new recruits that we have. I don't know. I love your guys' relationship, and I saw it when we did our Patreon live chat. I know, Noelle, you weren't there, but just thinking about it now, it's really cool to see you all talking with each other about your experiences when I talked to you before anything even started. So this is really cool. Our last question that I have for you all is, if you could give advice to future recruits, what would you tell them? Just a very small little snippet of knowledge, of wisdom. We can start off with, let's go with Joe.
Right. So for me personally, I think that the best advice is to, of course, I know it sounds really cliche, but always just be true to yourself and what you love to do. I think that that's really helped carry all of us throughout this journey and just sort of navigating joining a team like Core. Just really find what makes you happy and go for it. And that, just trust that that energy is going to carry out to the people around you and the people who are watching you.
Thank you, Joe. All right, let's go with Nikki.
Yeah, absolutely. Off of what Joe was saying, I think with any team, not just Core, it's important that, when you're building skills to get onto a team, you're not just working to get that specific team, you're working to improve your own skills. So you're working on your cosplay skills, you're working on your dance skills. And these are all for yourself and not because you want to be on a team. And I think that become a better, artist, dancer, creator. So yeah, that's what I would say for anybody looking to join Core.
Cool. How about you, Austin?
Something I say a lot is kind of just go for it, because risks are a big thing and it's going to happen regardless in this world. So just take the risk, and even if it doesn't work out, you're going to learn something in the end. There's always something to learn.
Oh, I love all these so far. Let's go with Justine.
Kind of echoing what Austin said is don't stop trying. When I actually first auditioned for Core and I didn't get on the last time they had auditions, but then I came back and I used that time to kind of train myself and prepare again. And when I came back, now I'm on the team. So just don't stop trying. Don't get down on yourself if you get told no. Just use it to fuel yourself for your future endeavors.
I keep forgetting that. That is so insane. Yes, do not stop trying. Our last one is Noelle.
Whoa. I would just say, I know that a lot of times for auditions, people think about, I need to get really good at choreography and retaining. You do, trust. But also, you should train yourself as a well-rounded dancer, not just with choreography, but with freestyle as well. Clearly, you see with Core, we do more than just choreography. We're entertainers, and so I would suggest training in terms of putting on a song you don't know and just moving and feeling and all that good stuff. That's it.
All right, well, thank you all so much for answering my questions. I just wanted to personally say that you all are warriors for being new recruits for this specific roster. You have gone through so much dance-wise and just developed so much over the 9 months that you've been on corps, and we've seen you be resilient and, you know, just retain so much choreography. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe that all happened, that you retain all that choreography, were able to perform and know that there were, you know, people who performed that same role before you, and, you know, thinking about comparing yourself to that and all that stuff, but you killing it anyway. And there's so many factors that make you all such great new recruits for the season. And honestly, we couldn't have gotten any better new recruits, in my opinion. So thank you all so much for just being here today and being in this panel and just sharing your experiences. This would be the amount of time that we have for today. I'm so sorry that we're unable to do any questions from our audience. However, there are still other opportunities as well. And you can also approach the core dance crew if you have any other follow-up questions, and then we'll be sure to, you know, follow it up with all of them. But I do have some announcements first before we close off. So we're going to have a concert that is going to be going on at 8:30 tonight, Pacific Standard Time, and it's going to be with John Robert Hall, and he is the songwriter and the singer of Young, which is our Across the Multiverse Sailor Moon song, that beautiful duet that Nikki and Koki did, and also Urban and Jason, they did it too. And he's going to be, oh yeah, and Joe. Why did I say Urban? Oh my God! See, all of the.
It's my predecessor.
Urban was a predecessor. Joe was with Jason. Wow, brain fart. But yes, he's going to be doing a live version of that for you all. And I can't wait because I think I'm going to cry. But yes, he's going to be doing that rendition as well as singing a couple of his original songs from his latest EP, and that's called Past Tense. And also, he's going to be coming out with a new song tonight at 9 p.m. It's called So Close. And that's going to be on his Spotify as well. And he has a music video that's going to be coming out too at 10 p.m. And that'll be on his YouTube page. So a lot of really exciting things for John, and we can't wait to see you all there, just to have him sing and just for you to enjoy his music, because we really love his music. But other than that, a couple of hours from now-ish, we have our Q&A with Sammy, which is going to be at 2 a.m. 2 in the morning, PST. So that would be for our international comrades, or if y'all are night owls and you still have questions, you are free to tune into that as well, and Sammy will be there to take all of your questions. But that is it for our panel. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It was such a pleasure, and have a wonderful night. We will see you at the concert for John Robert Hall's concert. Woo! And that'll be also on Instagram Live and YouTube Live. So we'll tune in there.
Bye, y'all. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you all
Thank you
so much.
Bye.
Thank you. We love you all. Thank you.
Love you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you from the new recruits. Thank you.
Hey,
Bye.